Imagine this. You wake up one morning and every record that proves you exist disappears. Your passport, your birth certificate, your ID card, your driving license, your bank account. You are still alive, you are still standing there, but the system no longer recognizes you. You cannot cross a border. You cannot open an account. You cannot rent a flat. You cannot get a job. You cannot even prove that you belong in the place you are standing. This isn't hypothetical. In 1988, a man named Mehran Karimi Nasseri landed at Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris. His refugee papers had just been stolen. He had no passport, no visa, nothing. So he sat down in Terminal 1, and he stayed there for 18 years. Not because he wanted to, because legally, there was nowhere else for him to be. He died in 2022 in Terminal 2F of the same airport. The absurd part is this. His body was still real. His voice was still real. His life was still real. The only thing missing was the official version of him. For most of human history, that was not a problem. If your family knew you, your village knew you, your community knew you, that was enough. You were not a file in a database. You were the man from the river, the woman who lived near the hill, the elder everyone trusted. Identity was social. It lived in memory. It lived in relationships. It lived in the people around you. The earliest state records weren't even about identity. In Mesopotamia, around 3000 BCE, scribes pressed marks into wet clay, mostly inventories, grain, livestock, labor owed to the temple. You showed up in the records the way a sack of barley did. Rome went further. Every few years, citizens reported to a census so the state could tax them and draft them. Miss the census, and on paper, Rome barely knew you existed. But you could still walk between towns. Nobody asked who you were. Then civilization changed the rules. Cities grew, borders grew, governments grew. In 1414, England's King Henry V began issuing letters, sealed by the crown, asking foreign rulers to let the bearer pass safely. Read that closely. It wasn't proof of who you were. It was one government asking another for permission to let you exist inside its borders. By 1792, France went further still. Mid-revolution, it made passports mandatory for its own citizens, even to travel between French towns. The same revolution that promised liberty and equality also built one of the first mass systems of prove you're allowed to be where you're standing. So identity stopped being a human thing and became an administrative one. That is where passports become strange. It is permission. It says, this person is allowed to enter. This person is allowed to pass. This person is recognized by the system. After the First World War, empires collapsed overnight. Russian, Ottoman, Austro-Hungarian. Millions of people woke up to find the country on their birth certificate no longer existed. Not destroyed, erased. By the early 1920s, a Norwegian explorer named Fridtjof Nansen created a new kind of document for the League of Nations, a passport issued by no country at all, just to say, this person exists. Around 450,000 people carried one. Today, the UN counts more than 4 million people still officially stateless, born in a hospital, raised in a town, fluent in the language, and on paper, belonging nowhere. Like Nasseri, asleep on a bench, watching planes leave for countries that all, politely, declined to admit he was real. Today, a computer can know everything about you and still refuse to believe you exist. That is the modern horror. Your identity is now spread across systems you have never seen. Hospitals, banks, schools, employers, government offices, servers. Ancient humans needed community recognition. Modern humans need institutional recognition. The first was personal. The second is bureaucratic. The first said, we know you. The second says, we have recorded you. If every record of you disappeared tomorrow, would society still recognize you as a person? Or would you become invisible the moment the system stopped believing in you?